Hello, everybody. Hopefully we are live. We're starting a little bit early so we can let everyone gather around since we're doing things a little bit differently tonight. As you can see, we've got a bit of a change of scenery. If you didn't know, today we are going to be taking a special backstage tour of the planetarium, which is where we're at right now. So once again, we're going to kind of wait until everybody's gathering around. Oh, actually, I can see who's watching this way. This is exciting. So normally I don't actually get to see people as they're tuning in. I have to have one of my colleagues filtering the comments to me, but now I can see them all coming in. So I can see, I can actually see comments. So Eric says, howdy from Lenexa. I need to stop banging on the table since I've got things on a tripod here. But we've got other people tuning in. Genevieve is watching as well. Thanks for watching, Genevieve. So once again, we are just going to wait for for people to start tuning in. We're also going to be cross-posting this to the Union Station Facebook page and Science City as well. So once again, we're just kind of waiting for everyone to start gathering, and we'll probably wait a couple minutes after the start of the hour to get things going officially. And I've got we'll cover some news stories while we're waiting, talk about what's happened this week in space news, but we'll start the tour probably at around 6:05 officially. So once again, we're just kind of waiting for people to start gathering around. Jennifer's watching as well. Hey, Jennifer, thanks for tuning in. So many screens. You just wait. We're going to see a lot of screens. Genevieve says hi. Hello, Genevieve. Thanks for watching. Hannah is watching as well from Fort Collins. That's so great. We've got Stephen watching as well. This is very exciting. Also, hopefully, I've got this the correct direction because I realized things were kind of flipped around. But if I hold this hand up, this should be my right hand. So somebody let me know if that's not the case, and then I can flip things around. This one's gonna be a little more off the cuff. This one's gonna be a little more casual, and we are gonna take things MTV Cribs style and just kind of take a look backstage, see what kind of cool stuff we've got, and talk a little bit about what we do at the planetarium, since many of you have been to the planetarium, but some of you may have not been to the planetarium, and you've just been watching our live streams, which is so awesome. But hopefully you'll get to kind of find out what happens in our real planetarium here, unlike the virtual one that we've been spending our Monday nights in. So once again, if you're still just tuning in, we are waiting for a couple of our other sister pages to post. Looks like we are live on Union Station and Science City now, so very exciting. So if anybody is tuning in, we are waiting for some folks to join us as we're cross-posting this to all of our pages. Also, I believe I can only see comments on the Planetarium's feed. So if you're watching from the Planetarium, congratulations, you are the lucky winners. And I can see who's tuning in, and I can see your questions and comments. However, if you are watching on the Science City page or the Union Station Facebook page, don't worry, I'll get to your comments as well. I just might not see them as they're coming in. We'll try to get those filtered down so I can keep track of all of that. So once again, if you're just tuning in, we are waiting for some folks to join us. We're going to give it a couple minutes after our stream because, as you can see, our scenery is a little bit different. We're doing things a little bit differently this time. We're going to take a little behind-the-scenes tour of the planetarium. But because we're kind of doing things a little bit differently, we're going to give everyone a couple moments to tune in. All right, so it looks like we are live on all the pages. That is awesome. And great, yep, okay, so I will be able to see your comments on the Union Station page and Science City page. They'll just be separate, so I might get to them a little bit later, but if you're watching on the Planetarium's Facebook page, then I'll see those right away, and I'll take this opportunity to plug our Planetarium's Facebook page. If you have not liked and subscribed to the Arvin Gottlieb Planetarium on Facebook, be sure to do that because you'll get all the planetarium-specific updates as well as space news and a direct feed to all of our streams, and that's definitely the place to be. So if you're watching from Union Station or Science City, those pages, be sure to head on over to the Arvin Gottlieb Planetarium and give us a like and subscribe there. So once again, if you're just joining us, thanks for tuning in. We are going to be taking a little behind-the-scenes tour of the planetarium tonight, and I'm very excited for that. But we're going to give everyone a couple minutes to join in, and I'm just going to scroll back through the comments here and see if I missed anything. Let's see. So we've got Carrie and Shirley watching. Also, hopefully our connection holds through. We should have a decent Wi-Fi signal in here. but if it cuts out at all, I'll try to keep track of that. Susan is watching as well. Rachel as well. Thanks for watching, Susan and Rachel. Laura is also tuning in. Eric is asking, is Phoebe with me? If you don't know who Phoebe is my parrot, and unfortunately she is chilling back in my apartment, so she will not join us for the stream today. But don't worry, we'll have a lot of fun here at the planetarium anyway, and we may get some other special guests. We'll see. Hillary and Billy are tuning in as well. Thanks for joining us, guys. So again, we are just waiting a couple minutes for everyone to start tuning in on the other pages, and we are streaming from the Arvin Gottlieb Planetarium. It's Facebook page and literally the planetarium right here. Yeah, so we're just we're going to be starting here pretty soon. And while we are waiting, I do have a couple space news updates. I normally start my tours with some space news that happened all around astronomy and space over the last week. So I'll start with that. Oh, and I should also start with introducing myself. If you're just tuning in now, I am Patrick Hess. I'm the Planetarium Specialist here at Union Station, and welcome to my office. We will be taking a tour of the planetarium today, and thanks for tuning in. If you are joining us for the first time, our live streams don't normally look like this. Usually we have a fancy digital backdrop, but today we're going to be taking things a little bit more analog, a little bit lo-fi, and we'll be doing things a little more off the cuff, and we'll be a little bit mobile, and we are even streaming from my cell phone instead of our fancy green screen setup in my apartment. And if you're joining us and you've watched these streams before, thank you so much for continuing to support the planetarium. Watching our live streams and sharing them with friends and family is a really huge way to help us. You know, with the world kind of turned upside down right now and everybody stuck at home, or many people stuck at home, we just want to make sure people don't forget about us. And that's one reason why it's so important to keep these live streams going, is so that you all remember that the planetarium is still here. We are open to the public. If you'd like to come see one of our shows, we are following many safety precautions. But if you just enjoy watching our streams at home, then that's totally cool as well. All right, so we got a lot of people tuning in and commenting, which is so awesome. I should mention I can see your comments as they're coming in, so be sure to give me a shout out or say hello. Let us know where you're watching from, if you're watching from somewhere exotic, even if it's in the Midwest's backyard. And if you have any questions, feel free to throw those in as well. Questions about the planetarium, how things work. I'll try to touch on a lot of topics, but there's a lot of stuff to cover, so it should be pretty good. So put those comments in, and while you're doing that, we are going to just take a quick minute to kind of go through some updates, space news updates. Hopefully you guys can hear me too as well. If volume is a little low or high, let me know, but I think things are going okay. So one big thing that's been in the news, NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission, a probe, was able to capture samples from an asteroid, the asteroid Bennu, which kind of looks like a big gravelly ball of rocks. And it did successfully capture some samples. There was some concern about a week ago that the sample containment door wasn't shutting all the way because there was kind of a rock stuck in it. But I just wanted to update that NASA did announce that they were able to successfully close the sample return capsule to trap those samples so that when the capsule gets back to Earth, which will be September 24th, 2023, we'll be able to get all those samples uncontaminated and study them and learn all about what asteroids are made of. Should be very exciting. Another big announcement that came out recently is that NASA announced that there's water on the moon. Now, we did already know that there was water on the moon. There is some water frozen on the nighttime side of the moon or in dark craters. But this announcement was exciting because NASA confirmed the existence of water molecules on the sunlight side of the moon, or in the warmer regions of the moon, basically. Of course, the moon experiences a day and night cycle, just like the Earth, so there is no dark side of the moon or light side of the moon, since the whole moon experiences daytime and nighttime. But it did find water on the moon's sunlit surface, which is pretty exciting. And it's kind of cool. They actually used an observatory called SOFIA, which is actually an observatory that's strapped onto the back of a jet. So this is actually a mobile observatory. And it's pretty amazing to me that you can get some really awesome science done when you're, when you strap your telescope to the top of an airplane flying, hundreds of miles per hour. So that's pretty exciting. let's see. I'm going to skip over this. NASA is, they announced that the Crew 1 mission, that is the partnership with SpaceX, which will be the first official scientific mission using SpaceX's Dragon capsule to send American astronauts to the International Space Station. That was postponed. It was supposed to be in October, but they did announce the new date will be November 14th. So that's what they're targeting for the launch of the Crew 1 mission, which will take 4 astronauts to the International Space Station aboard SpaceX's private industry rocket, which is called the Dragon capsule, the Crew Dragon. So pretty exciting. November 14th, we'll definitely be covering that during our live streams. And then another exciting thing is that NASA scientists have announced they've discovered quote-unquote weird molecules in the atmosphere of Titan, Saturn, one of Saturn's moons. And this is pretty exciting. This chemical is called cyclopropanoidine. Not a chemist, I'm an astronomer. Anyway, it's a very complicated name. But it's pretty exciting because this compound was is pretty rare, and scientists say that it is a carbon-based molecule that could be the precursor to complex compounds that could either lead to life or provide food for life. So, you know, Titan's one of those places that NASA would love to explore, given the right budget, of course. So someday we may be able to check Titan out and see any of those organic compounds could be related to any life. All right, so we are live on all the pages, and looks like we've got a good crowd here, so we might go ahead and get things started. I'm going to scroll back through our comments section and see if there is anything anybody would like to say. I'll try to keep a closer eye on these comments since it's a little easier to answer them when I know what relevant stuff we are talking about. Katie is watching and thinks this is a really good idea. Awesome. Well, thanks, Katie. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Again, this is a little bit weird, a little bit of a weirder stream, a little bit less produced, so it'll be a little more off the cuff. But hopefully you all will still enjoy it. A lot of people watching, and if you have any shout-outs or questions, be sure to pop those in the comment section. And let's see. Okay, everybody's saying the sound is good. Awesome. And I think, okay. And one last thing, double checking. Okay, looks like we don't have any comments or questions. If that changes, though, I will be sure to answer them. I'm also going to try to come back here to this station periodically to check, because I've got a couple other sources of comments and things that we'll be following along with. But I do want to start out actually right here, because this is the control console. And let's go a little mobile here. I've got my little makeshift selfie stick. So we'll see how this goes. All right, so this is the control console. Woo. And sorry if I give anybody motion sickness. All right, I also have to get used to doing things backwards here. So I've got 3 computer screens here, which is pretty exciting. Who doesn't love a good computer screen? And with 3, you can get 3 times as much work done. That's definitely true. And so I'm going to try to precariously balance this to kind of show you. This is our control console. This is how I control everything that runs the planetarium. It's how I control the projectors. It's how I turn the stars and constellations on. It's how we start our shows like Big Bird's Adventure or Magic Treehouse Space Mission. I have a live view of the planetarium on this screen right here. Unfortunately, I don't have the projectors on. It'd be a little hard to get them to show up in this stream. We are going to just stick with the lights on this time so we can see everything. But this is the planetarium. We have access to an entire universe, similarly to the software we use during our live streams. We can visit all the planets, all of their moons, and we can explore the universe here in the planetarium. And we do that during our live star tour. And Jennifer says, oh yeah, to the 3 screens. Although Jennifer says, why 3 when you could have 1 giant screen? That's a good question. Well, I say, why not both? I got 3 screens and a giant screen up there. So I've got the best of both worlds. But on a typical day, we'll be using all 3 of these screens. On this screen over here, I might have our tour guide, which I curate and write, and this has all the tour stops that we cover on our seasonal star tour with notes about them so that all of our educators will be able to give a good star tour, because I'm not, of course, not the only person who gives a star tour. If I was the only person who did, then I would just live here. But thankfully, there's some other folks who are able to give great star tours as well, and at the the Science Center educators, we have a small subset of the Science Center educators who are trained on running the planetarium. So if you come here for a live star tour and I'm not here, don't worry, you'll get a great star tour as well. It might be a little different. They might have some better jokes than I tell. And that's what I love about the planetarium, and the fact that we have a staff of a bunch of different people who can give a different star tour for every different occasion. So if you've seen a star tour before, I'd encourage you to come back and maybe try to see it with somebody else, with a different presenter, because everybody kind of brings a different vibe to it. So we have a lot of different tour stops that we cover, and this is this middle screen is kind of showing what these different tour stops are, and I separate them by cardinal directions. During our star tours, we'll spend different times, we'll spend time in facing north, south, east, and west, and kind of cover different things in those directions. Some planetariums don't move things around that much, but I like to keep things a little dynamic, keep people on their toes. I definitely don't want anybody falling asleep. Although if somebody fell asleep during my star tour, I would take that as a compliment, because then that just means my voice is so soothing. So a lot of fun tour stops, and this changes pretty frequently. I keep the star tour updated every 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the season. In the spring and summer, the night sky is changing quite a bit because the sun is starting to set later in the evening, so the stars are sort of changing more rapidly. In the fall and winter, things change a little bit more slowly. But I generally tell people, if you come to the planetarium once a month or at least once a season, you'll get a totally different view of the stars with different constellations and things like that. And we've got a lot of let's see, a lot of people watching and tuning in. I wonder if I can filter just for comments on here. Maybe not. Let's see. Amanda says we went, and the girl who was presenting, I'm assuming, was amazing. Don't remember her name, but know she was from Lee Summit. We've got a bunch of awesome presenters. I'll go ahead and shout them out right now. Jordan, Sherry, John, they're all amazing presenters here at the planetarium. So like I said, if you come see a star tour, you'll definitely get a great experience. All of our presenters are amazing. Let's see. All right, I'm not seeing any specific questions I've missed. Maybe my colleague Ben, if I did miss one from the planetarium stream, you can throw that in the document and I can try to catch that. Now, it might be kind of hard to see here, and this is like totally old school. I'm pointing a camera at a computer screen. But this panel controls everything from the lights to our shows, and I can fade the lights off, for example. Very fancy. Look at that technology. And I can fade the lights back on. Whoa! It's not just the lights, though. We have lights behind the dome, and if I give you kind of a bird's eye view of the planetarium dome, you can see the structure of it there, and we'll see it backstage a little bit later. Those lights backstage there behind the dome obviously kind of illuminate through the screen, but we also have some lights that we call cove lights. And those lights kind of live in this area of the planetarium that we call the cove. And so that is the little, sort of this little trough kind of right behind where the audience area is. And so you can see the lights there, and they are color controlled. So oftentimes before a show is starting, I like to have the lights sort of set in kind of a blue color, and that just kind of sets the mood, gets everybody sort of relaxed. We can also make things bright red to preserve our night vision. I'll use these colors when I'm preparing the star tour. We also have some spotlights on the front of the planetarium. And if I switch things around to our other camera, ooh, there we go. Hopefully you can still hear me as well. So there we can see the seating area and a little stage area up front. You may not have noticed that before if you've come to the planetarium. I'm trying desperately to hold this level. Sorry if I give anybody motion sickness. Oh, there we go. So we have a stage area up there, and you might wonder, what do we use that stage area for? And we use it for a lot of different things. So the planetarium is a really awesome space. It's a dome theater, and of course we do astronomy programs here. and shows about science, but this is a really unique theater space. So we also rent this place out for special facility rentals. We'll rent it to businesses who want to have a conference here. In fact, we had a conference earlier this year where some people in the medical industry came and did sort of a conference, and we actually used the entire planetarium screen and put different aspects of the conference, different slides and things all around the screen. We've had people contract entire shows for corporate presentation, but perhaps most exciting is that we do weddings here, as well as marriage proposals. That stage up there and our dome backdrop provides an amazing scene for an unforgettable wedding. And we've had dozens of weddings here since 2014. That was the first wedding that we hosted. A shout out to Amy and Caleb, by the way. They were our first wedding couple. But so yeah, we do weddings, which is really, really awesome and really fun. And we offer a bunch of different backdrop options. Of course, you can get married under the stars with shooting stars and constellations and the northern lights above you. And with a giant digital screen, we can put pretty much anything up there. So we've had some people be pretty creative. Some person put a sort of a 3D VR cathedral around them. So they got married in a giant cathedral, essentially. We've used that stage for other interesting things. We've collaborated with other companies here in town. In fact, 2 years ago, during the holidays, we collaborated with Mesner Puppet Theater, and we did a production of The Little Prince, which was a ton of fun. Hopefully, we'll do something like that again. We've also done other stage productions as part of the Fringe Festival as well. So we use this space in a lot of really creative ways, and I could talk forever sitting right here about that, but I think we should start moving around a little bit. So let me go ahead and try not to fall off the desk. So that is the control console desk. It's pretty simple and a little bit tiny, and whoever designed and built it should have built it a little bit bigger. Spoiler alert, it was me. So that's on the list for someday of making that a little bit bigger, a little more room there, because it's a bit cozy. So here's our planetarium. Our dome is 60 feet wide, or about 18 meters, and that makes this one of the largest planetariums in this part of the country. So we're very lucky to have this here in Kansas City. I got a question. Let's see. Eric asks, do we do campouts in here? We've never done an overnight in the planetarium, but at Science City we do overnights. Be sure to ask any questions if you have them. Oh, Eric also says, excellent cable management. Thanks for that shout out as well. All right, I think I got all the comments. Cool. So as I said, it's a 60-foot dome, and this is a flat planetarium. So planetariums kind of come in two varieties. Some of them are flat, where the dome is just sort of parallel with the ground, and others are tilted, where the dome is actually tilted a little bit, sort of like an IMAX screen almost. And there are pros and cons to this type of planetarium. Ooh, and actually, I'm going to pause for just a second because we have a special guest who just joined us. And I'm going to go ahead and get something set up. And I'm going to set my tripod up here and also get my mask. This is a bit of a surprise for you all. But we're very excited to have a special guest joining us whenever he is ready. So we're going to take a little tangent here. As I said, we did just have a special guest join us who would like to say hello to everyone on the stream and talk a little bit about what we're doing. So we're going analog here.
Look at this, impressive.
All right, I think that should work.
There we go.
I don't know what the framing is like.
Looks
but
good. We're going live, Patrick.
We are live right now.
Hey,
how's it going? Oh, thank you.
Happy 21st birthday.
Yes. Oh, and so this is George Costello. This is the president and CEO of Union Station. And I forgot to mention at the beginning, the occasion of this stream and kind of why I wanted to do this live stream at the planetarium is that this week we're celebrating the planetarium's 21st birthday. So we're celebrating with some Mountain Dew, although if the planetarium were a person, we maybe could crack some champagne open. But this is a family stream, so we'll keep it simple. But let's go ahead. Let's
take
toast.
Our social distancing.
Yes,
we'll
we
drink.
will social distance.
Here's to Arvin Gottlieb and to the great stuff that everybody's done here for the last 21 years.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Cheers. Cheers to the planetarium and all of our supporters.
Thank you. Patrick, I just want to come down and say thank you for all that you've done for us and all these live shows. So hopefully everybody out in the virtual world is enjoying what Patrick's been doing and what of all of our educational team has been doing to keep Science City alive. We really appreciate it, we really value it, and we can't wait for everybody to come back and have a full house here at the Arvin Gottlieb Planetarium.
Absolutely, yeah. We wanted to also thank the Arvin Gottlieb Foundation for their continued support, and the support of everybody watching at home. Watching these streams is a great way to keep the planetarium and Union Station in everyone's mind. And of course, as a reminder, we are open to the public if you want to join us and purchase a ticket to our show. We do have limited capacity, but we're keeping things safe, and we're excited to host anybody who feels comfortable.
We've got a great program lined up for the holiday season, so I hope everybody comes down and enjoys this truly Midwest experience that you can't find anywhere else. So thank you all for being a great supporter. Thank you for your donations, and especially thanks to all of our members who've really helped us during these difficult times. We've hunkered down, we've pivoted, and we've really had a chance to really continue to bring great educational programs to all of you out there in Kansas City and around the world, actually. I watch, and we have people from all over. So thanks, Patrick, for what you're doing. A lot of exciting things coming up as we look forward to the new year and many years to come. So to Arvin Gottlieb and the Gottlieb Foundation, thank you for 21 years of support, and thank you for allowing us to bring these great programs to Kansas City. There you go, Patrick. Here's to you.
Well said.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers, George.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Once again, George Guastello, President and CEO of Union Station, popping by to say hello. So great. All right. So we were just taking a little tour around our planetarium. I was talking a little bit about the facility itself. And speaking of 21 years, this planetarium was built in 1999, and when Union Station was renovated and reopened to the public. And we've been here for 21 years, and our technology has changed a little bit, and I'll kind of go over some of those changes. And actually, we'll start right here. We'll get questions about this pretty often. This sort of big grate kind of in the floor, a big square of metal that seems a bit mysterious, and if you kind of look down in it, you might even see that it's kind of hollow under there. And it is hollow. It's about a 10-foot deep pit with nothing in it currently. Bye, George. Thanks again.
See you, Patrick. Don't fall in there.
I'll try not to. So, once again, that pit is actually where our star ball used to be. So, planetariums the technology that runs planetariums has changed a lot over the years. I'm just adjusting my tripod here. And let me do that real quick, actually. And often when people think of a planetarium, they think of a star ball, which is a large sort of metallic monstrosity that looks like maybe the console of a spaceship that often rises out of the center of a planetarium, a big sphere with dots in it where the light shines through. And some planetariums still operate star balls, but those have kind of gone out of style with the advent of digital technology. So our planetarium does use digital projectors to do our projecting, but we did used to have a star ball. It was about a 4-foot wide sphere that the previous staff lovingly nicknamed the Death Star, and it lived there inside of that pit. It had some motors that would allow it to go up and down, to rise out of the pit. But in about 2009, the star ball was decommissioned, and we switched to a digital projection system, which we will take a look at, or parts of it, backstage. So while we're walking backstage, just checking into the comments. All right, got a lot of people watching still. Awesome, thanks for watching, everybody. So let's go ahead and let's head back backstage, the planetarium. And let me just say that this is where the magic happens. All right, so welcome to my office. This is the office space of the planetarium, and this is where all the technology is housed. And this is where the computers live that actually operate the planetarium, which you can see right behind me. But I did want to talk first because we used to have a different planetarium system that we actually put together ourselves, and it was a pretty ingenious solution to getting an image up onto a dome, because you have a problem where you have a projector that projects usually a sort of a rectangular image. How do you get it onto a sphere and fill that sphere? Well, we used to have a smaller projector that actually is living up there as sort of a backup projector, and it was actually pointing towards this spherical mirror behind me. So that mirror is shaped like a quarter sphere You've probably seen mirrors like that as part of like security cameras at malls, those sort of round mirrors that you usually put a camera behind. But we were able to use that mirror and a projector pointing at it and some fancy geometry software to basically warp an image that would be able to conform to the dome image. And we used that projection system for a number of years, from about 2009 to all the way to 2017 actually, beginning of 2017. But at that point in 2017, we upgraded to a new 4K projection system, which if you've come to the planetarium recently, you got to see, and that uses two projectors, two 4K movie theater projectors. One of them is behind me here, and the other one lives at the front of the planetarium, and it sits on this giant rack. And these projectors use lenses, so it has a fisheye lens there, right, whoa, there, and that is how the image is warped. And then we have two projectors, so one in the front of the planetarium, which is pointing at the back half of the dome, and this projector in the back of the planetarium pointing at the front half of the dome. And then basically we use software and some calibration tools to make those images seamlessly match each other. And that's how we fill the entire dome with our projection. So our computers are right here in this rack, and you can see it says RSA Cosmos. RSA Cosmos is a planetarium vendor, and they're from France, actually. And so we partnered with them to create this planetarium system for us, specifically for us. It's kind of interesting, though, if I could show you back here, all the plugs are European plugs. So we had to figure out some of that power conversion when we were installing that. But we're going to get a little technical because we're here, why not? And you can see there are a number of computers in this rack, and there are actually 6 in total. There's one here on top that's named the master, which says right there, and that controls all the other computers. And then there's this computer, which is named multimedia, which mostly controls the lights and audio systems. And then below that will be 4 computers that are called image generators. And these 4 image generators are what actually produce the content that goes up onto the screen. This 4K image has a lot of pixels. And to get all of those pixels to cooperate and to show a nice clean image that's all synchronized and is very high frame rate, our projections are 60 frames per second, which is much higher than most movies or video games or any media you might consume. Usually that's about 30 frames per second. A YouTube video is about 30 FPS, but our system is 60 FPS. And so it takes 4 computers that split up the load. So each computer basically renders 1/4 of the dome. And then we have software to synchronize all these images and put them together so that when you're watching a planetarium show, it's a seamless experience. It looks like one giant screen that's all put together. So we have a bunch of other computers and screens, as Jennifer mentioned before. So this is sort of our desk production area here. And right here is a PC that I actually built myself. This is our development PC, where I do a lot of the 3D rendering and content development, like editing, video editing, and getting content prepped for the planetarium. If we buy a show, for example, from a distributor, we have to edit it for our system and make it compatible with everything. And then we have another system over here that's a practice system for new hires, where they can practice the planetarium software and learn how to give a star tour. And then we also have another system over here that controls the laser shows. So we have a lot of different things all attached to the edge of the dome up there. There's our main projector, but we also have a smaller projector right there, and that is our laser projector. So this is for our laser concert shows like Pink Floyd and the Beatles. Normally we do those throughout the year. We haven't been doing very many of them this year, of course. We're hoping to bring them back soon. So keep tuned in to our Facebook pages for that. But that is the laser projector. And if I continue on over here, there is another sort of laser projector right there. That was a laser array that has a bunch of different lasers pointed at different parts of the dome, and I use that to do my calibration. So we have a camera that actually captures where these lasers are placed on the dome, and then it calibrates the dome image to make those 2 images seamless. So that's kind of how that system works. And then other things like spotlights and stuff like that. I did want to point out that our dome, our 60-foot dome, is actually suspended from the ceiling. So it's actually hanging from the ceiling on these chains all around the backstage area, which is a little disconcerting for a lot of people when they first come in here and see that. But this entire dome structure is just hanging from the ceiling. Pretty crazy. get a little nervous whenever I sit right underneath it doing work, but it's very safe and secure, of course. And there's even a sort of a bookshelf track with a ladder that kind of rolls all the way around there if you ever need to climb up there. Our dome is perforated aluminum, so it actually has tiny little holes in it, which you probably can't see on screen, but that's why we can see through it with the lights. And the reason for that is because many planetariums, including ours, have their heating and cooling systems behind the dome as well as their sound systems. So it might be kind of hard to see, but one of the 6 channels of our surround sound system is hanging right above me, which you should be able to, yep, okay, so that is one of the speakers right there. So it's behind the dome, and if the dome was solid, the sound wouldn't travel through. And of course, if the dome was solid, the heat would be trapped in the dome, and that would be no fun as well. So that's why our dome is perforated with tiny little holes in it, and it's made of aluminum, so it's pretty light. Moving around here, there's another workstation where we do a lot of our sort of office work, emailing type stuff, and we have, a bookshelf with all sorts of fun toys. And I do want to shout out one of my prized possessions. That is my space Lego collection. Again, I'm still trying to figure out this this camera style, but there we go. So you can see, got a bunch of cool Lego sets. We've got the space shuttle, the Saturn V rocket. We have a Curiosity model, which actually was designed by one of the NASA engineers who is a fan of Legos. He designed his own Curiosity model. You can buy the model, the rover model, but the descent module, he actually put his designs online, and so I sourced the parts for that myself and put it together because I am that cool. And then, of course, we have the International Space Station, which is the newest addition to my Lego collection. You might have tuned in a couple weeks ago and seen our live stream where I built this live on stream, and we talked about all the different parts of the International Space Station. I think we posted a link to that earlier today on the Facebook page, actually. By the way, shout out to Jennifer, who gifted me that Lego set. So it is there, living right in front of Mars, and gracing the planetarium with its Lego awesomeness. So, yeah, so that is, basically my crib. This is where all the exciting planetarium development happens. We have a lot of other resources and demo materials. Here's an armillary sphere, which is a 3D planisphere. I featured those on my live streams before as well. We have our glamorous kitchen area, very exciting. And we have some decorations from previous weddings that some weddings actually use. Continuing on, this is sort of the entryway to the planetarium, where we will come in backstage. And I'm not going to go too far because I don't want to get out of Wi-Fi signal, but there is also a bunch of signs. I call it the sign graveyard of all of our sort of special event signs and things like that. So a lot of detail here. I don't even know if you're interested in this, but hopefully you're having fun kind of seeing backstage of where the magic happens at the planetarium. And, I should point out, so we're back over here in the center console area with the rack of all of our computers. Next to it are a couple other racks with, here's a secret that not a lot of people know. Everything in those racks is actually not working. So all this stuff, it's not working because we don't use it. This is old planetarium equipment. These are old amps for a previous sound system that we don't operate anymore. And then all these weird sort of dials and knobs are part of the old planetarium system way back when we had the star ball. So there's a lot of old parts here that we've just kind of left because it would look awkward to take it out. And honestly, it kind of looks cool and spacey with all these knobs and dials. Whew. And there's even like this this crazy weird like 8-track VHS player thing that I don't even really know how it works. So some of that stuff is very old school. By the way, a lot of the planetarium stuff back when this planetarium opened in the late 90s came from the Kansas City Museum. There was a planetarium at the Kansas City Museum which was really the spiritual successor to this planetarium. A lot of the equipment from that planetarium came over here to this one, and many of the staff of the Kansas City Museum were also a part of the early Science City projects. So if you were ever wondering about that, like wasn't there another planetarium? There was. It was at the Kansas City Museum, and that space is still open, and I think that sometimes they use it for storytelling. But now this is basically the Kansas City Planetarium. So I probably have missed a bunch of questions, so we're going to go back to our seating area here, and I'm going to kind of set back up, and let's check to see. Oh, let's see. Oh, this is a good timing. Okay, so we are probably just about getting close to wrapping up. Making sure the password wasn't in the camera view. All right, so let's check into our comments, and let's see if I missed anything okay, we got, a bunch of shout outs. Thanks, Ben, for collecting these for me. Let's see, Heather says, did you get any good blue moon pics? I did not, unfortunately, although I did have the pleasure of going stargazing with some local Girl Scout groups on Friday night, which was right before the full moon. So shout outs to MC and that crew, who I am very lucky to volunteer with sometimes. Yeah, so in case anybody was wondering, blue moon is not actually blue, or technically blue. A blue moon is just when you have 2 full moons in 1 month. Because a lunar cycle is about 28 days long, it's pretty rare for 2 full moons to happen in 1 month. And if a second full moon happens in 1 month, that second full moon is called a blue moon. And it just so happened that this blue moon was on October 31st, Halloween, so that was pretty exciting. I also wanted to mention that full moons are not great times to look at the moon because the sunlight is facing the moon, which means A, it's very bright, and B, you can't see a lot of features on the moon because when the sun is shining straight into the craters, there aren't a lot of shadows, and those shadows reveal the features here on Earth. So if you want to look at the moon, I'd recommend looking 1 or 2 days before or after a full moon where you can see some of those shadows. Suzette is tuning in, watching from Gladstone. Susan says, so lucky to have this in Kansas City. What kind of shows are coming up? Great question, Susan. So we had just actually finalized our winter schedule. And so starting during the week of Thanksgiving, we will be changing our schedule up a little bit. We'll be bringing back our Apollo show, Capcom Go, which is a deep dive into the history of the Apollo program. So space history fans, definitely check that out. That'll be available on weekends. We are also bringing back some daytime laser shows. And since the holidays are approaching, we will be bringing back our Laser Holiday Magic, our fan favorite laser holiday show. Great for kids and all ages. This year we're going to be doing a special extra long version, which normally it's about a 20-minute show, but this one will be about 30 to 35 minutes. So even more holiday classics for you with our stunning laser imagery, of course. Cindy tuning in saying this is so cool. Thanks, Cindy. Eric asked, is 4K state-of-the-art now? So 4K is kind of a buzzword, and if you've bought a TV in the past couple of years, you've probably heard of that. And a 4K projection is sort of the standard for a film. If you go to a movie theater these days, if they have a digital projection system, it would be a 4K projection system. Now ours is technically a little bit higher resolution since a 4K movie is only 4,000 pixels sort of wide, but fewer pixels tall. Whereas our image is 4,000 pixels wide and 4,000 pixels wide on both sides, so it's a square image. Now there are planetariums who have even higher resolution projection systems, 8K or even 10K or 12K. You get to kind of a point of diminishing returns, though, and a lot of people have trouble even noticing the difference once you get much past 4K. Plus, at that point, you'll need more than just 2 projectors, and then you have a lot of complicated geometry to match all those projectors together. Eric says you need an AC/DC laser show. We do have an AC/DC laser show that we've brought out in the past, and if we do evening laser shows sometime in the near future, I think we'll definitely add that to the roster. Don was watching from Leewood. And Lauren asks, do the knobs go to 11? Oh, yes, all the knobs go past 11, of course. Don says, this is very cool. Will these outreach presentations be recorded and streamed? Outreach presentations. If we're talking about these live streams are available to rewatch either on our Facebook page or we have a YouTube channel. Just search for Arvin Gottlieb Planetarium and you can find all of our past streams. We've covered a ton of different topics. We've done, I think, 45 or 46 live streams at this point since early April of this year. So if you miss any of those and want to check out any of those other deep dive topics, then you can definitely check them out there. A couple other little shout outs. I just wanted to give a special shout out to Carolyn, who will be celebrating their birthday this Saturday, and they'll be coming to Science City. By the way, we do as well do birthdays here at Science City in the Planetarium, so if you're looking for something to do, a nice safe space to socially distance with your friends and family, and you want to have a fun birthday party, Science City is a great option. So shout out to Carolyn, happy birthday. And let's see, any other comments or questions? I think we may have gotten it. So we're posting links to all of our other recordings and things like that. And I think that basically covers everything I wanted to talk about. I did, let's see. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this kind of behind the scenes stream. And I know it was a little bit more off the cuff. But hopefully you enjoyed sort of just getting to hang out with me and kind of seeing, what all happens here at the planetarium. And as a reminder, we are open to the public now, and if you feel comfortable, you can come join us for one of our shows. We are following safe protocols, socially distanced, and cleaning seats between shows. But of course, supporting us by watching these streams is a great way to support us as well. And you can buy memberships and donate to Union Station 2 as a nonprofit. Every little bit helps. Suzette says, thank you, this has been very enjoyable. Well, thanks for watching, Suzette. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Susan says, enjoyed it as well. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you all for tuning in and watching. Thanks for continuing to watch all of our live streams. We have some fun topics planned for the weeks ahead. Be sure to mark your calendars for Monday nights at 6 p.m. We'll be having our live streams at that time for the time being, unless things change, but that is our current plan. Should have a fun topic for next week. We won't announce it yet. We'll keep it as kind of a surprise, but keep tuned in to our Facebook pages for information about that. If you haven't yet, be sure to like and subscribe to the Arvin Gottlieb Planetarium's Facebook page, where you can find all other space updates. Suzette asks, where are the show schedules posted? If you go to unionstation.org/planetarium, that should take you to that page, or just unionstation.org, you can navigate to our schedule there, and the schedule will be available going all the way till January of next year. It is all posted. We've got Magic Treehouse available, of course, our live Star Tour, so a lot of really great options coming up, and we'll be open to the public Wednesday through Sunday, and we will be open on a few Mondays and Tuesdays in December for the holidays, so check the schedule for that as well. Jenny says, love this. Thanks. Thank you, Jenny. Thanks for watching. And thank you to everyone for supporting us. We'll be back for sort of a more standard live stream next Monday, but I think that is all I have. So thank you all so much, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.